Alrighty, board gamers, what's going on? We're going to do this one take, one time for the one time, and let's just try and upload the raw video because I'm tired and I put this off for a really long time. So let's crank this out. We're going to be talking about board games today. There are quite a lot, and I don't know if I'll do. It's not exactly going to be a tier list, but I'm going to rate everything on a scale of 1 to 10, and then we can just kind of auto order from highest to lowest, and you can kind of see where everything falls. So, my family does enjoy board games a good bit. You can kind of see, here's some random photos I took of our collection of games here, and you know, we're not in the realm of like, oh, you gotta play Settlers of Catan and Pandemic and that one with the beautiful drawings of the birds, all these fancy games. But we just have a wide kind of collection of stuff that we think is fun. Some strategy, some social, some word, others puzzle-ish. But we're just gonna go over everything in this giant list here and kind of rate them all, talk about them a little bit. We have like 59 games to go over, so I'll try and make them quick if I don't think they need to be talked about a ton. And they're not even in any particular order here. These are just the order that I wrote them down in, and we're doing a 1 to 10 scale. So Parcheesi I don't think is all that particularly fun. I would have pictures up if I wanted to do up the production quality here, but Parcheesi is just one where you move around in a circle. It's like Sorry, but you can like block people. And I would say it's kind of fun. Not really one I play too often, but I think this one gets a 6 out of 10. Definitely on the better side. Or just going like 5 is average, 10 would be like favorite games of all time, and 1 is like a game that I would never want to play again. So 6 for Parcheesi to start off. Not the most game-breaking thing, but a good kind of fundamentals board game. Next up, Mousetrap. Mousetrap is very cool in concept, as we all know. I'm a big Rube Goldberg machine fan, but it hardly ever really works. It doesn't really come together, and the payoff just quite isn't there for how much you anticipate everything to be really cool. So gosh, I'm gonna give Mousetrap a 2. 1 point for it being a cool idea, and another point for all the cool items you have to set up. But other than that, I don't think it really gets anything else going on. So 2 for Mousetrap. Scrabble Jr. And I included the variations just to get a full comprehensive list of everything my family has. Scrabble Jr., that can be like a 3 for me. I guess I'd rather play that over Mousetrap. Mousetrap really may be the minimum here. But Scrabble Jr., I like that it has some kind of letters already on there, doesn't it? I don't think there's much to say on that one. Battleship's pretty classic. You know, 2-player games are not as common, so kind of cool to see how it pioneered that. But I don't know if it deserves a lot of praise from me personally. It's just like a guess and check kind of a game. So Battleship, I think, is probably also like a 3. I don't really like it that much below average for me. Gonna sneeze. Hopefully that was not loud. Poppa's Pizza Topple. I think this one's just a really funny game. Great balancing concept, and you know you can really get the emotions going in this one. So Poppa's Pizza Topple, I think, gets a 6 from me. Curses is a game that you might not have heard of. It's more like a social kind of party game, and you have to, each card you get like a curse, and you have to keep doing that curse, and you hold like a certain amount, and then if someone calls you out on not doing your curse, you lose points. So it's kind of fun to play in a group of very serious people to see them act out of character. So it is kind of entertaining, but there are certainly curses that you have to act out. Like you'll have to do an impersonation for like the rest of your turn until someone calls you out, or you'll have to keep doing the hand jive until you can't stop anymore. So maybe I'd put it at a 4. It's fun like the first time, but it's not necessarily one that I always kind of keep coming back to. Guess Who, another 2-player game, pretty classic. I'm not crazy about it, and I mean, if that's really the only one that you can play like goof around on. If you're going serious hardcore, everything's already been figured out. So maybe I would give it like a 3. Stay Alive is a really interesting game. It's one where you have the marbles and then you slide parts back and forth to try and drop other people's marbles down into the bottom, and you want to be the last person who has marbles above. So it's kind of interesting and certainly unique. I think I would put it at a 5, not really one that I would go around and play a lot, but it's interesting concept, and I always liked the sliding aspect of it. I was always a DJ sliding those things back and forth. Clue. And this is a new version of Clue, which really isn't that different, just updated stuff, and I think there's more rooms. I definitely like the kind of older art style more. But this one I think has like a carnival on the other side of the board too, so there's 2 different kits. I guess I would give this one a 6. I do like Clue overall, but I don't think it is as cool as the original one as it goes. Here Kitty Kitty is kind of a goofy game where you want to try and attract the most cats to your yard, just like how you would use a milkshake to attract boys to the yard. This one, you use tuna to attract cats to your yard. Kind of a fun, cute little game. I think it can kind of go into like the 4 category, where it's really not that exciting, but it has a cool art style and little plastic cats, so hard to beat. Password. I'm trying to remember Password exactly. I think this one is like a kind of like a quiz sort of a one, and it'll give you like a category and you have to like say different things, but we never really play it properly. We just play it as like a guessing kind of a game, or like a quiz game. I'm gonna give Password like a 2 for that because it's not very memorable. The Game of Life, I'm not really crazy about this game. You don't really get to make any decisions besides left or right, or like if you want to go to college or not. It's just kind of like a luck for fun kind of a game, but you also don't get to like interact with other people very much, so I'm not a very big fan of the Game of Life, other than oh haha this thing happened. So I would give Life like a 3, I guess. Monopoly, this is one of my long time games I've been a fan of. I think I could give Monopoly maybe like a 7.5. I do enjoy playing it, but yeah, you certainly do have to like set up a little bit as far as carving out a time to play, and it can be dragged out a little while, but it's a fun one to play every now and then, so certainly the highest ranking one for now. Clue Mysteries is another variant of Clue that we have played for we got it at a thrift store, and it's like it has all these like gimmicky things where you have to turn the style this way, and then you put this code card on, and then you can see it like this, and it's not really that great. If you see Clue Mysteries, don't get it. It's like a 2. It doesn't have a lot of replay value. I don't even remember what Tribond is. So knock yourself out with that one. I'm gonna give it like a 2. Oops, I forgot I can switch with that. Haha. Tribond gets a 2 for not being memorable and a thing that we don't really play. Connect 4 is kind of a fun game. You have to keep your wits about you. I think it gets a 5. Yahtzee can be kind of fun, but at the same time, like, it's kind of loud, and I've never was like, oh, I want to play Yahtzee and use my predetermined looking into the future ball to guess how I'm going to play this game. So it's okay at the very least. I think Yahtzee could also be a 5. Oh, Marble Spin Game. Okay. I don't know the actual name of this game because you could not see the name of it on the box in the picture, but it's a game where you have like 4 trays, and they have marbles in them, and you're trying to do like tic-tac-toe, but you can like pull the trays out and like rotate them and lock them back in, and it's like a red board and black and white balls, if that is descriptive enough for people. I have not played that game very much, so I'm gonna give it a 3 because it wasn't a game that I liked enough to play it or remember it. So, oh wow. Chess can be fun. I tried to get into it a little bit this summer, but I could not say that I was like, oh, I'm getting back in the group of it. I just could not ever commit enough time to chess for the learning process of it to be fun. I don't find learning chess to be all that engaging for me personally. So chess could probably just chill out like a 6, I guess. Checkers, I think, is pretty inferior. I'm never a big checkers fan. Munchkin, I think we have the Adventure Time version of this one. Again, kind of too conceited, and I don't really care about games with a lot of rules or stipulations. And this is like, oh, puts this card down so you can do this, and then I have this ability to do this, and like I don't care about that. So Munchkin can get like a 3, and you can fight me about that one. Apples to Apples is a pretty fun game. You'll get a lot of hoots and hollers. I think I can give Apples to Apples like a 7. Yeah, it can get maybe a little repetitive or like, oh haha, that's pretty random, but I don't think it. I think it's gotten like a fair amount of praise. It was pretty widely touted, and maybe everyone has a copy of it. But it's entertaining. Candyland, I'm not really a fan of Candyland. It's like the game of life where it's just luck. So I would give Candyland a 2. I never really played much Dominos as a kid or otherwise. I liked playing with dominoes and like setting them up and knocking them down. But as far as like actually placing them down and connecting them, dominoes is like a 3. I'd rather play dominoes than Candyland at the very least. Forbidden Island is one where like the island is sinking and you need to go around and collect all these artifacts with people of different skills. And I do like this one. We don't play it a ton, and it's maybe kind of hard to balance between like the game feeling like it was really easy because you got like a really good layout of what your island was versus the game feeling like really impossible. So I give it like a 6.5. Quarto is like one of those wooden style games with like carved out pieces. I don't know if I ever really have even played it before, but I'll give it a 5 and I'll let it live in the average zone. Scrabbled. This is supposed to say Scrambled. Scrambled States of America. This game is pretty classic. I think this one gets at least a 6 from me. I do find this game pretty entertaining. I don't think I've played it in a while, but it's almost like a game show. And I like that aspect of it. Like, oh, you do this quickly, or at least it has this eye, or this one has this many syllables in it. That's it. Is a funny game to say or exclaim out like you're being really mad. So the title alone gets a point at least. But the gameplay is not very fun. But I do like the little chips and the stupid randomness, so it gets 2 points. Iota is like a game about shapes, I believe. Don't really remember a lot from it. I think I've only played it once. I'll give it a 3 for not being a banger. Regular Jenga is okay. I think I would put Jenga at a 5. It's kind of fun sometimes, but I don't think I ever go like, oh my god, that was like as hype as it was supposed to be. The tower fell over and now I gotta pick everything up. It's fun occasionally, but it's not like an everyday kind of a game. And then we have a Tetris Jenga where like the blocks are shaped like Tetris pieces, so you have to like take things out more carefully. I think this version is worse actually, and so it gets a 4. Cards Against Humanity is fun sometimes. Again, same kind of spiel with Apples to Apples is that it can get kind of repetitive, or like you'll have friends that will make the same type of jokes over and over. You know what I'm saying? So I can get tiresome in that way, but I think I would give it maybe a 7. Also, I think it's equal to Apples to Apples, where like it really depends game to game on how funny something might be, and it's hard to say if it, the game can feel like a 10 sometimes, or it can feel like a 1. I think it's more fun than not, so I think a 7 is appropriate. Blink is a game about reflexes, and that is not my strong suit. But it's one of those games where you put down matching either shapes or number of shapes or color onto another card. This game is like a 5 for me. Bullseye Ball, this is not a board game per se, but it's in the game's drawers, so I think I gotta include it. Bullseye Ball is awesome and deserves an 8.5 at the very least. You bounce balls, it's like skee ball but with a trampoline, so really neat. Blokus, one of my all-time favorite games. I think I'll give it a 9. I feel like I went undefeated for a very long time. But if you do become a target in this game, you will get blocked a lot more than other people. But I do like finding the different avenues and paths to go through, and kind of trying to plan out ahead of time around other people's blocks. So that's a good one. We have this pizza magnet game that we played as children, and I included everything here, as you can see with the ones that I really don't know what to say on. But the pizza magnet one is kind of cool. It's an interesting game, and you spin this wheel, and then sometimes the pizza, or sometimes your person will have a magnet on them, and then you can pick up the pizzas and take the pizzas from other people. It gets a 4 for being kind of cool, but not very replayable for older people. Rolit is fun. It's the one where you have the multicolored balls on each side, and then you place it down, and then if you make a connection, they'll all turn over. I give Rolit a 7. It's fun sometimes. Here is the new version of Monopoly listed in here. Again, same thing with Clue. Not really that different in any way, just new stuff, new pieces and cards and money. And I would say, what did I rate the original Monopoly? 7.5. I think this one is a 7, just because it doesn't have the fine vintage factor. Falling is a real-time card game. It's pretty unique in that vein, but it's very difficult to play and assemble a group together that could play it well. So I'm going to give it a 5, because I don't think I've ever gotten it to have a fully fair chance. And I think it could be really fun if everyone is on the same page of how to play it, but it's kind of confusing. And did I list Candyland on here twice? I did. There's no new and old version of Candyland, so we'll delete that. Poker is fun sometimes. I'm not very good at it. I'm good at losing money, as many people are. So I think poker lands in like a 6 for me. I do like playing it sometimes. Mastermind, the game where you have to find a pattern based on if someone telling you have it correct or not. I think this one's kind of fun, but also lands at a 5 where it's like, oh, let's play Mastermind, guys. Like, not really a game that you kind of go out of your way to play. And I think Mancala falls into the same thing where it's like, it's a good brain exercise, but not like a back-to-back banger. Well, you don't really play Quiddler back-to-back, but it is a kind of newer game to our arsenal, and I really enjoy this one because it is part luck, but also like creativity of building words, but they don't have to be very long or complex words. It's just however you can fit things together. I think I would give Quiddler an 8. I really enjoy playing that one. Boggle is fairly fun, I would say, because it's kind of like running, where you can still race against yourself even if other people are doing a lot better than you. So my sister wins in this game pretty much every time, and I will always bring up the caboose with all the 3-letter words, but I try and I enjoy it. I think Boggle gets a 6 from me at the least. The Ungame is a game where you talk about your feelings, basically, and I enjoy this game a lot. I think it's very interesting to hear from people in a non-competitive setting, and you're being asked things that you might not always talk about with the group you're playing with. So I give the Ungame an 8. It's not the most exhilarating, but it can actually be, it's exhilarating in your heart, you know? So that's the important part. Scrabble, I really enjoy Scrabble, actually, and you can make some pretty cheesy words, so I would give Scrabble an 8. Here's the old edition of Clue. I would give that one an 8 for sure. I don't remember what we gave the original. 6. Yeah, the old one's just cool, okay? I don't know what else to tell you. Clue gets an 8. Konexi is you have every letter of the alphabet and they're like a block, and then they can like interconnect, and then you build words that connect in your word tower. This one's pretty cool, actually. I like the building and balance element of in like a word game, so that one gets a 7. Balderdash, this game's always pretty fun. Very entertaining and goofy. It doesn't always, like, the vibe won't always fit this game, and not everyone will be a true comedian in writing their answers. So it's not like a guaranteed laugh factor, but I would give Balderdash, gosh, an 8.5 at least. Very interesting and goofy game. Let's see. Scruples. Scruples is really fun, and I'm glad I picked it up from the thrift store for only like $3. It's a game about kind of investigating other people's personalities and thinking if they would or wouldn't do something, and then guessing other people's assumptions about yourself and thinking, oh, would they do this or not? And you do kind of have the opportunity to try and lie your way out of a situation or come up with a rebuttal against people. So it's a very interesting speaking game that isn't just like, oh, I'm this person because this. It's not quite like Mafia or One Night Ultimate Werewolf, but you're judging it on people's actual character outside of the game. So it's very interesting. I would almost probably give that one like 8.5 is a little high for it not always being like super banger status, but I do think it's a very good game and one worth trying for people. On the obvious, this is a pretty fun game where you just like point out like kind of puns essentially, and for that reason it gets a 7. I enjoy it. Treasure Hunter is kind of a deck building game, I guess that's what you call it formally, where you like draft cards and you like hand the cards around to everyone. for trying to earn different pieces of treasure, and it's fun overall, but not one that I like super love. So it gets a 6. It's above average. Wise and otherwise is a lot like Balderdash, but with quotes instead of words. So you'll like complete a quote of an ancient proverb, and it's pretty fun. I think I would give it a 7. I think it does feel like not quite the exact stride of Balderdash, but I still enjoy it. Wits and Wagers is a pretty fun game. I would give it a 7 also. I just like guessing about stuff, and the betting aspect of it is fun. Fluxx is a fairly fun and enjoyable game. We have the regular show version of that one, and it's entertaining. I would give it like a 6.5. Uno's one that we come to fairly often. I'm putting Uno in this kind of board game list because I think of card games as games that you would play with like a standard deck of cards, and Uno cards are not a standard deck of cards, so they're going in the board game list. And I really enjoy Uno just because you can do a whole bunch of variations of like playing with your cards up or in teams, or you can change rules a lot. So I guess in the vein of a regular card game, you can play however you want. But Uno is still pretty entertaining for me, and I would give it an 8. We have this Mad Libs game where you write, or I guess you don't write, do you? It's a lot like Apples to Apples, where you're gonna like fill in the blanks, but you have to do it with different, verbs or adverbs, adjectives, nouns, all those sorts of things. And I wouldn't say it's as fun as some of the other games. I think it can maybe get a 5. It sits more in the middle. And then another one I'm not seeing on here, we'll get to sorry in a second, but I'm just gonna call it interview game. I don't remember. I guess that's just what I call them. But we'll get to that one. Sorry is another classic of my family. We play it quite often. I think I can give Sorry a good 7.5. Yeah, that seems right to me. 7.5 for Sorry. It's pretty much always random, but the dramatics of it are very interesting, and there's really no feeling like sorrying someone. So it just has that charm to it. It's a solid game overall. And then the interview game is a game where you're given a job to apply for, and then everyone interviews to another player. So similar to Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, but you are presenting yourself, and it's really like, how funny can you be? And I enjoy this one a lot, when you're in the right group, or you can kind of get someone to come out of their shell more when they're trying to put on a presentation. So I would give this one a good 8 out of 10. And I think that would about wrap it up here. And we can, let's see, sort A to Z, rather Z to A here. And we can see what the best games are. So, and there are a lot of other games that I've played too at friends' houses, but these are just the ones in my family's home. And later on, I can have them all give their reviews and ratings for the games, and that would be interesting to see in totality what we think of everything we have. And this might help us clean out the closet of stuff that we don't actually enjoy, and we can just see who doesn't like what. But overall, Blokus has the highest rating. I think that makes sense, as it's probably the game that I'm best at. So if there's my heavy bias there. Bullseye Ball, I mean, come on, you can't beat that one, unless you're Blokus. Balderdash, fun word game. Yeah, Balderdash could probably be a 9, honestly. Quiddler could probably also be like an 8.5. The Ungame, just good old talking, basically. Scrabble, fun. Clue, I like the deduction part of it. Scruples, also very entertaining, talking to people, kind of trying to get a good read on them. Uno, can't go wrong with Uno. An interview game, also another good one. So those are your top 10 there. Monopoly, just kind of scratching the surface, also sorry. And apples, blah, 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 blah. And there we go. I would say, really everything. You could probably skip on some of these. Everything in this kind of 6.5 and up range, I would recommend here. Oh, we don't have Codenames on here either. I know we have a copy of Codenames. I just didn't see it downstairs or anywhere. I guess we can make another one for Codenames here. Codenames. Codenames I do enjoy playing. There is a picture version. I think we have the picture version, and our extended family has the word version of it, so I'll rate the picture version. I would give it maybe a 6 on this one. I do enjoy playing it, and let's see, there we go, Codenames. But it can maybe not get tiresome per se, but you don't always, like, it can be almost frustrating to try and communicate stuff. So it's a good one to bring up every now and then, I would say. But that is your board game tier list for my family's household, and I will share this to the rest of my family and get their insights and thoughts and opinions, and I'll have them rank everything else. But that is all we have for now. Hopefully I can do a more complete list with everything else that I have played. Plenty of games I have played at my friend Justin's house that are not on this list, but a lot of other board games to talk about. So hopefully this could bring some discussion to the table, and I will see you guys all later. Bye bye.